Welcome everybody. Appreciate everybody coming tonight. So we're going to start off tonight with Vice President. He's going to start off with a prayer tonight. And just to let everybody know, Mr. DeVillio is not going to be here tonight. He's on vacation enjoying it, so he's got it made. So, but he give us his wishes to everybody that he's sorry he's not going to be here tonight. So if everybody don't mind standing, and we're going to say a little prayer, and then we're going to do the pledge of allegiance on the flag.
Almighty God, grant your wisdom to those who govern, cast out arrogance, selfishness, and corruption, and instruct those who lead to practice compassion and humility. Inspire us with a vision of the common good and a commitment to the care of those who hunger, those who are unemployed or underemployed, those unable to find affordable housing, those lacking the resources to pay for health care, and those imperiled by unclean water or poor living conditions. We ask all this in your most holy name. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you there, Mr. Vice President. You do a good job. I really appreciate that. So let's start off tonight with, on the agenda, the council has an agenda for July 27th before us. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda? Hearing none, the chair moves that the agenda be accepted as unanimous consent. Okay. Next is the minutes. The minutes, we have had a chance to review the minutes for July 13th. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, the chair moves that the minutes be accepted as unanimous consent. Okay, next on the agenda here is the disbursements for July 20th and the 27th. Council has had a chance to review the disbursements from July 20th and the 27th. Any additions, deletions, or corrections to the disbursements? If not, if the chair moves that the disbursements be accepted as unanimous consent. Okay, so the next thing up on the agenda is a presentation of certificate of recognition, and this is a big deal for you guys in Talbot County, for Robert Bridge and Derek Hoffman. The council has the pleasure to recognize these two guys tonight in the efforts of the June 24th providing life-saving assistance to the pilot that crashed a few weeks ago. Madam Secretary, could you please read the certificate into the record, please?
Yes, Mr. President, the commendations are the same. They are to Robert Bridge and Derek Hoffman. On June 24th, 2021, while working in the area of Easton Technology Park, an airplane appearing to be losing power was forced to make an emergency landing, which resulted in serious injury to the pilot and a fire which destroyed the aircraft. Witnessing this event, Mr. Robert Bridge and Mr. Derek Hoffman responded and assisted in stabilizing the pilot until EMS arrived on the scene and the pilot was transported to the hospital. Their actions on that day directly aided in the survival of the pilot. In recognition of your heroism and life-saving actions in rescuing a fellow human being from a downed aircraft near Easton Airport on June 24th, 2021, we hereby bestow upon you, as a token of the esteem and deep gratitude of our community, this certificate of commendation, and it's signed by all council members.
Thank you, Madam Secretary.
Could we invite the gentleman to the table?
So-
Mr. Huff,
so-
Mr. Bridge?
I was getting ready to invite him up. Yep. Guys, yes. Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
How you doing?
So, could you explain a little bit what happened? We know there was a plane crash, but you guys are kind of somewhat heroes, and we really value you doing something like that to save people's lives, and an emergency situation like that, that's for sure.
We were just working, and I happened to look over,
Uh-huh.
and the plane was going down. We lost it behind trees at the time that we thought were probably 100 foot tall, and going back later and looking at it, they were about 15 foot tall.
Wow.
And we got over there, and the plane was pretty much fully involved, and luckily it was a lot. We carried him away, got him away from the fire, and got everything stabilized. And
At that stage, was the pilot in there, or was he coming out?
Yeah, he was out at the time.
Was he?
he had got himself out a couple feet maybe.
Yeah, he was probably 3 feet away.
Yeah.
He was laying on the steel that he crashed on,
Wow.
but there were flames and
As we got him away, the plane exploded.
Wow.
yeah, as we were carrying him away, we felt the heat from the plane explosion.
Wow. Counsel?
Well, you guys, oh my God, it was just amazing what you all did. So where do you work? You work at the airport?
No, we
Or-
work for Barker's Landing
Excavation.
and we were just happened to be in the
On
area at the
site.
time. We were testing the fire line for the state fire marshal, and we just wrapped that up, and we were putting the tools away in the truck when we saw the plane.
Did you actually see it come down?
Yes.
Did you?
Yeah. If it wasn't for the trees, we would have seen everything.
Yeah.
Huh.
We heard the crash, and I told him, let's get in the truck and go. We were probably, eighth of a mile away.
If that.
From the time it crashed to the time we got there was 30 seconds.
Yeah, seconds.
Thank goodness you were there. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, Mr. Bridge, Mr. Hoffman, again, just listening to your retelling of the story, I saw it first on the evening news. I think it was Channel 11, actually. And I said, well, we had a plane crash here in the county? And then I looked at my email and I saw more information on it. But to meet you two, you need to know that we're very proud of what you did, and you should be very proud of yourself as well. I mean, take the kind of, do either of you have any kind of first responder training at all?
I used to be in the fire department, but
Yeah, I was in
Not-
Neck District Fire Department.
I was in.
Any of those
Teenager.
old training instincts kick in, or you just
I couldn't explain it really.
Just
Just
did it.
They just happened.
muscle memory just went in
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, it just happened.
Well, thank you both very much for what you've done, and I'm sure that the gentlemen also appreciate your bravery and your heroism of going in there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just words of thanks. We are fortunate, and the pilot was fortunate to have the right people in the right place at the right time, that you had the presence of mind to respond appropriately. So thank you.
Yeah. Jack, would you like to say a few words, please?
Well, I'm just here to echo what has already been said, and as a representative of the airport, Micah wished to be here, and I'm here in his stead. And I can tell you, as a pilot, I would love to have these guys around me at all times. And but it's amazing what they did, and the fact that they acted so quickly and without any concern for their own personal safety is really commendable.
It really is.
So we're here to congratulate and thank you for all you've done.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And once again, guys, that your instincts, I wish people were a little bit more like that in the instinct of going right away, because you only had seconds to deal with that kind of stuff. So I commend you guys, and I really appreciate everything you've done, and I'm sure the family and the gentleman, it was
Gentleman.
Yes.
Gentleman, yeah. That, does anybody know how he is?
Yeah.
He's doing good.
Okay.
He
That's good.
he had to get a couple different surgeries for his leg. His one leg was broke. The other one, I think it
Well,
was,
they were both broke.
yeah, they were both broke, but the one was.
One had a compound fracture.
Yeah,
He had to get skin grafts, and everything's good. He stood up when the admiral from the Naval Academy came. He actually stood up,
Huh, did he?
so
Wow.
he's doing pretty good.
He told him that's what he wants to be, is a Navy pilot.
Yeah,
So.
that's good, that's good. So we have a few certificates here for you.
Alrighty.
Mr. Councilman, Vice President Lusher's going to give you, so if you come on up front, that'd be great.
Picture.
Again, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, guys.
Cassandra will capture this for posterity.
Thanks a lot, Jack, for coming too. I appreciate it. Okay, let's see here. Next on the agenda, we have an update from the Maryland Environmental Service. Mr. Tom Ford,
You can
the
just
Acting
scroll
Managing Director. That's
to
good.
get to your next slide.
Oh,
Just
slide?
scroll. Yep.
Oh, I'll mess it up.
I'm sorry, Tim, not Tom. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Good evening.
Sorry about that. Welcome, Mr. Ford.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, great.
And on behalf of Dr. Glass, we really appreciate the opportunity to speak today.
Yeah.
And more importantly, I'd like to, before I start, express my sincere appreciation for the service of Steve Tomczewski. Steve retired since the last meeting.
Right.
After 16 long years, he would tell you, of service, and many, many more years before that. He was a strong advocate for the Midshore Partnership, and just loved what he was doing. And he'll be sorely missed. And I know he's been before the council many, many times, so, and he's a character, so he's hard to follow. So, that's for sure. If you've ever been to any of his events over at the landfill, you'll know what I'm talking about, so
Yeah.
we appreciate it. So,
I'm sorry.
Well,
Just saying.
staff does appreciate the donuts.
oh, yes,
There you go.
Mr. Laseco's here today. You all know Gary. Gary is our project manager. He's responsible for a lot of things for us. He's an up-and-comer, and he runs the both landfills for us, and he was a supplier of the donuts this time, I think. So.
Thank you.
Steve used to call it donut diplomacy. It's all over the shore. There's been donuts deposited everywhere, so we do appreciate that much. See if I can get it right. There we go. I did it. So we usually start this with a quick introduction to MES. I took those slides out since we've been through this many times, but for those folks that don't know who we are, and I'm told on advice of counsel that we are an independent state agency, not quasi. And unlike our other sister agencies in the state, we're neither a policy organization nor are we a regulatory body, but we're more akin to a utility. So we operate hundreds of wastewater treatment plants in the state of Maryland. We work with the state on many environmental issues, including the important port dredging projects. If you haven't been out to Popular Island, by all means, we can arrange for a tour. It's an incredible place. And that's the mid-harbor dredging area. So we also run the upper harbor dredging areas as well. I can't think of the name of Days Cove, I think it is, area. So long story short, we do a lot of things in the state. I'm a representative of the Environmental Operations Group, which are the solid waste management guys. My name, again, is Tim Ford, and I'm the acting managing director. And depending on how well I do on the interview in another week or so, it may be my first and only opportunity before you, so I'll make the most of it.
We wish you luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm not sure if it's luck, though, to be honest with you, but we'll see. So the Midshore Agreement. In 1992, or 1990s actually, the three counties at the time, in the face of change in the regulations that required the counties to close their old landfills, this is with science, of course, and build new landfills that were quite expensive. They had the foresight to band together and use the economies of scale in developing a landfill that would service the upper three counties. Later, Kent County joined to become the fourth county. And then in return, each county agreed to host a landfill for 20 years. And of course, Talbot County was the first, and that was the Midshore 1 landfill over on Barker's Lane. We have since
close that landfill and run the Midshore 2 landfill over in Ridgely. That one is in its 10th year, and we're already looking, and we'll talk about it a little later, we're looking at Midshore 3. We're not real original with names, by the way, so 1, 2, and 3, that's about as complicated as we want to get for a state agency. So we are Midshore 3, and that will be near Centerville, Maryland, the location for that. And again, it's an 80-year solution, so all 4 counties will host a landfill for 20 years. And that's pretty much what we've already talked about. So the Midshore 1 Regional Solid Waste Facility, which is of the most interest to the county here, accepted waste from 91 to 2010, and we now operate the homeowner drop-off area for that, at that location, so county residents can drop off waste there. It's funded by the Talbot County and a transfer fee on the waste that is brought into the transfer station there. And again, we are contracted to operate that drop-off facility through December 31st, 2030. So at that transfer station, we have received in the last fiscal year, October 2020 to March 2021, 20,963 tons. There were total waste received. Total tons of yard waste was 1,811 tons, and there were 13,297 customers at the site. That translated to 4 $5 punch cards, 592 $10 punch cards, and $1,210 $20 punch cards. So obviously people are coming back if you do the math on that. And again, we had 13,297 customers for the year. The solid waste that received at the transfer station at the Hodo increased by 14% and 8% respectively compared to the same period last year. Those were as a result of, most likely, from the impacts from the COVID-19 pandemic. It seemed like everybody and their mother discovered their garage and decided to clean it out. So we got an increase in volume there from what we can only assume to be that COVID-19 impact. The housing starts were down, construction were down, the industry, commercial waste was down. This was all coming from residential, for the most part, residential folks and small commercial haulers. The yard waste received at the transfer station is flat, period over period, but there weren't any notable storm events. That's where we really see a pickup in yard waste. That yard waste, by the way, is ground, and we use it at the landfill for road base and cover material. So as part of our agreement with the county, and this isn't with all the 4 counties, and this is at no cost to the local county, this is part of the agreement, we manage the closure for the Midshore 1 closure. So under the regulations, when you close a landfill, there's a closure period. You have 2 years to close the landfill after you last receive trash. In our case, we were able to extend that a couple extra years because we had just started the new landfill and there was a transition period. But then after the closure period, once you've capped it, then you have a 30-year post-closure period that you monitor that landfill for a minimum of 30 years, and it could extend beyond that. It all depends on what is going on with the monitoring that we're doing. The intent there is that landfill will remain under a monitoring period until such time as it's deemed to be inert, so that any environmental impacts have been addressed through natural attenuation over the years, and it is inert and safe to no longer monitor. And I can tell you, just judging nationally, I don't know of any facility that has closed after that 30-year period. It continues forward, so it's likely to continue on beyond the 30-year period. These landfills, they use a closed tomb system, they call it, a dry tomb system, so things degrade slowly within the landfill. It's a liner so it's sealed, basically hermetically sealed, and biological activity is slowed. And so we'll see how it goes, but we'll continue to monitor it, and that's our obligation to whenever it is deemed to be inert, in which case we'll no longer continue monitoring, but we'll own the facility and continue to manage it. And a lot of these old landfills have been developed into open space over time, so that is certainly within the realm of possibilities for this site long term. That landfill, by the way, is a unique cover system. It is a exposed geomembrane landfill cover, so we didn't put any soil on top of it. It reduced cost dramatically. And in the event of some extreme emergency, you could reuse portions of the landfill. Say you had a hurricane come up the coast, and we had to find a place to place additional. I'm not saying we're opening it again. I'm just saying there's an opportunity to do so easily if indeed you had to with that type of a cover. And I just talked about post-closure care. So we'll move on to Midshore 2. So in that same period of time, we received 62,991 tons of trash, 2,535 tons of brush. This isn't, I made a mistake earlier, I said fiscal year. This is over that last period since we last met. 33 tons of scrap tires, 19 tons of mattresses were recycled. And the Holly Road homeowner drop-off, which is open to all 4 counties, by the way, as part of the agreement, had 1,100 tons. For operations, we began fully operating in Cell 3, the new cell that we constructed last year, 2 years ago, which opened in 2020. And we're in the process of designing the landfill gas collection system, and that'll be completed by October 2021. So as we build this landfill, obviously you tie in the headers that are collecting gas and rolled into a central system. So at some point, we'll bring in either a central gas collection system, either a flare or some energy use or some other technology to clean the gas. There's always a possibility you can clean it and compress it for use as well. Markets dictate whether you do that or not. Right now, natural gas is pretty cheap. So it's not the most cost-effective way now, but that may change over time. So tip fees in our current fiscal year, which is FY22, will remain unchanged. That's the 4th consecutive year. Trash is tipped in at $67 a ton, and brush is accepted at $42 a ton, and we have a tire surcharge. That's the only thing we modified from the FY21 rates. And I don't know what that number is. Gary could fill me in on what that number is if you need to know it, but that's the only thing that actually went up. So landfill tipping fees have remained unchanged. So Midshore 3, as I said, we're in the planning stages. It's about a 10-year process to permit a landfill. And we're in the process of doing what we call a Phase 1 permit application. That's just the application itself. That'll result in a public informational meeting. That'll be held sometime in the next year once we file the application. And then we go on from there to what is Phase 2, which is all the geology work that we do and the science piece on that site in terms of whether it's a suitable site for a landfill. This site happens to be next door to the current, or the old Queen Anne's County landfill, so it's not new to the neighborhood. So in addition, there is a mirror agreement with the 4 counties, and that is the Midshore Regional Recycling Partnership. And several years ago, the 4 counties asked MES to manage that as well. We currently fund it through a surcharge on our tipping fees into the landfill. It's a $5 tipping fee, and that funds the Midshore Regional Partnership, particularly the collection sites that are throughout the 4 counties. So we took delivery of a new front-end loader truck. So these are the trucks that we use to pick them up. They pick up the front-end cans. You see them all over the place. They pick up an 8-yard can, and those are the types of cans you see at the recycling facilities. What we collected in that October to March period, 265 tons of mixed metal and plastic, 390 tons of mixed paper, 495 tons of cardboard, and 466 tons of glass. These materials are source separated when they're picked up, so you may hear stories about single stream recycling and what happens to glass in those recycling systems. But in this particular case, the glass is separated by color, and it's easy to recycle, and it is sent to a recycler near Pittsburgh called Cap Glass. And it is truly recycled. It's not used as landfill cover or road base. It goes back into the glass manufacturer. The same goes for the other products. They're all truly recycled. We also have with MDE, we have a contract with them to run the statewide used oil collection system, and we have locations within Talbot County that monitor and maintain those sites. There's 6 of them in the county, and we collect used oil there, and that's recycled. It is actually sent to a refinery that manufactures a base lube. So it goes back in and becomes what it was originally intended for, and that is a base lube for your automobiles. We'll see what happens with electric cars down the road and what they're doing with the oil at that point. Steve was a big promoter of community involvement. We were and still are very active with the Ridgely Lions Club. We support the Waterfowl Festival. We're big believers in community, giving back to the community. And in this case, we participated in the project Clean Stream at Easton Point Marina. We put out recycling cans for them when they were doing the cleanup there. So we managed the recycling piece of that. And with that, I think we'll open it up for questions.
Okay. Council.
Did I do okay?
Yeah, you did
There
really
you go.
good. We'll put a good word in for you.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Dr. Glass, I'll give you his email address in a moment. So.
Okay.
The Region 2 landfill right now is in its 10th year of operation.
Uh-huh.
But as far as its capacity, where is it as far as capacity? Is it at 50% currently or below?
It's below. We have a considerable amount of excess capacity there. These things are hard to guess at in terms of the size. When they began the design piece of this, there were certain projections regarding what the population would be like, how much trash would be generated per capita. Recycling was different then than it is now. Recycling certainly has a huge impact on volumes. And so we over-designed, for lack of a better word, the capacity for that site, and we still have almost 20 years of additional life when we close the landfill. So there's additional capacity there. It's a political matter in terms of what the counties want to do, or what Caroline County wants to do with that site long-term. As I said, we'll do what's expected of us. If that is open up Midshore 3 on time when we are supposed to do so, we will. If the counties decide that they want to continue to maintain operations and make some sort of a business arrangement with the county to do so, we'll do that too. So
How many cells are constructed out there?
So we're on cell 3, though the numbers are strange. We didn't go in order. I don't know why that was. We didn't go 1, 2, 3, 4. We went 4, 2, and 3. And we may have one more cell to construct. We're still working through the math on that. You do an aerial survey at the end of each fiscal year. You look at how much airspace is what's remaining to fill. You look at the compaction rate, you make guesses about how much capacity you think you have. We think we have enough capacity without having to build another cell, but we're prepared to do so if we need to. That will not be a bond issue. We'll have to self-finance that when the time comes. There's no way we're going to get a bond for what will be 3 years of operation if that is the case.
And if you still, one more question, and if you still have excess life left in Region 2, when should the counties have that conversation?
We need to have it soon.
I think so.
We're in the middle of the permitting side. When we get to phase 2, we start to really spend some money on the permitting piece. But more importantly, that's not so much the arbiter in terms of when that drop dead date is. What that drop dead, I can't speak, what that drop dead date will be is when we get to the point at Midshore 2 when we have filled the current cell 3 to a point where we then start to need to either make a decision on building another cell or starting to mold the cover, the top of that landfill, filling in the areas between the 3 cells that are already filled and then bringing the remaining cells up to their permitted capacity. Once we do that, we're at a point of no return. We've built that landfill at that point to design, to the design considerations, and it'd be awfully hard to add another landfill cell. We could do it, but it would be harder.
Do you lead
And
that
that's 5 years.
do you lead that conversation with the county? Should Caroline take the lead on that conversation?
I think, I don't know, that's a political decision. My opinion, my personal opinion would be that's certainly within the, I mean, that's the responsibility, or not the responsibility, that's the right of Caroline County. It is their county.
My last one, I just want to
what
say
they wanna
thank
do.
you all. I'm just looking at the picture here of the recycled oil bin, and I know that Steve worked very closely with Preston, our Director of Parks and Recreation. At some of our recycling bins down in the Bay 100 area, people were laying things about, and they weren't as tidy as they should be. And Steve came in and worked with Preston to get those areas cleaned up, and they look fine now. So I just want to thank you guys for working
Well,
with
good, and we'll continue to do that. That's always a problem with any of the drop-off locations, particularly if they're not monitored. So people get frustrated when they get there and they find that they can't put what they wanted to put inside the bin, so they'll leave it on the outside of the bin. We do our best to clean that up, and we work with the counties to make sure that those are policed and that those sites are clean, because we don't want them to become a public nuisance. We don't want the neighbors to have a problem with what we're doing there. So we'll work with anybody we need to.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
My question follows up on what Corey was talking about with the, whether changes from Caroline to Queen Anne's County, and the need for whether they would allow a new landfill to open if there's existing capacity at wherever it is.
From a
So-
regulatory point of view?
Pardon me?
From a regulatory point of view, you mean? Yes.
I mean, you hear a lot about, that they don't want to allow new landfills to open. So kind of my question is, is it the county's choice? Is it Caroline's choice? I mean, if they don't want to run it anymore after 2030, yet there's still existing capacity, with the regulations, might they be forced to continue to run it there until it has reached its capacity?
I can't speak for what the regulations will be in 5 to 10 years, but the way the regulations are now, we can open up a new landfill and permit it, and they can close that landfill as is. The capacity piece of it, remember, if we redesign the final cells in the final configuration of the landfill, we're reaching capacity for that landfill. There is no additional, it doesn't really matter, it's empty space, right? It's not like it's been built and you can't fill it at that point.
So there'd still be capacity there, so in theory, at some point, could come back and finish putting, the full area. If they say use 70% of it or whatever, there'd still be some.
Down the road, they'd have to re-permit it at that point, because the landfill would be closed and it would require a new permit, just as if we wanted to do something at Midshore 1, you'd have to re-permit it.
But that'd be 20 or 40 or 60 years down the road, so,
It could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Or not, right?
thank you.
You spoke about the methane gas collection system, and obviously it's a powerful greenhouse gas. You've got to do something with it, whether you're flaring it off, whether you're collecting it, whether you're combusting it and using it. And I know that has been done, at least in the past, at Midshore 1, the Talbot County side. I'm curious but I know that it tapers off with time, the amount, and at some point it becomes not a marketable commodity. Or where are we on that at Midshore 1?
Well, we worked with Eastern Utilities. They own the gas generator there. And they've elected, for business reasons, to discontinue that it was not economical for them to continue to operate it. Not so much that their gas was falling off, but if you look at what the price of electricity is and the cost to run that, they did the economics on it, and it was their decision. So we continue to flare it. So we are capturing the gas there. We have a cover on top. It's easier, by the way, with an exposed geomembrane cover to monitor that landfill cap. You know if you have a leak in it, as opposed to a cover with 2 foot of soil on top of it. You wouldn't necessarily know. The regulations, by the way, are changing for landfill gas systems. There's a landfill, we already have a collection system at Midshore 1, but we're not required by regulation to have a landfill gas collection system in Midshore 1 because of its size. Under the new regulation that's proposed, that will change, and that would have been required for that landfill We'd have had to put in a gas collection system had we not had the foresight to do so years ago. But we continue to flare it, and we get carbon credits for that. So there are carbon credits that we use to offset operating costs for the midshore as well. Overall, it's a midshore system, we call it. It's, the whole costs are all involved. And so we do get carbon credits for that flaring operation.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Ford, I appreciate everything, and you did a great job in the presentation, so, wish you luck.
Well, thanks.
And I think you're going to be just fine.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else, council?
Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, council, the next thing is a presentation of Chesapeake College. Dr. Cliff Coppersmith is coming up and give his budget.
Mr. President, members of the council, it's a pleasure to be with you. This is my second one of these in the last couple of weeks, and it's just great to be in front of you again. It feels a little bit like normal, although I know we're still quite a ways away from that being a permanent situation. I would like to introduce our relatively new Vice President for Administrative Services, Karen Smith. Been with the college for quite some time, and we're really happy to have her in this role. She's doing a great job. And finally, I'd like to recognize our Talbot County representative from the Board of Trustees, Mr. Reza Jafari, who's sitting behind me, and it's wonderful to see him this evening as well. My prepared comments are very brief this evening. You obviously have our request in front of you as a result of basically unforeseen increases in state ongoing funding as a result of the passage of the Senator John A. Cade Funding Formula and Budget Reconciliation and Financing Act for fiscal year 2022, we had an additional alignment of funding from the state of over $895,000 in ongoing funding for the college, which of course was very welcomed. So as a result, we had to revise our budget, and that's why we were coming to you this evening for county approval of that revised budget, which you have in front of you. In addition, we have a number of projects that are much needed for the college to prepare us for the return to business, to be well positioned to serve our students better over the next several years. And that fund balance request is in a total amount of $1.2 million, in which you have the details of those projects in front of you. They deal with some long-standing issues we have with our website, which is very dated, is pretty hard to use, and is the first place our students find us. And so we're anxious to get that fixed, along with rebranding and relogoing the college, which is also time for that. And because of the need for a revised website, doing them both at the same time is of the essence. We're also going to digitize our student records. That is something that's been long due. We're the last community college that we're aware of in the state of Maryland has not done that, and also will help us be more responsive to our students to have those records digitized. We'll begin with our current records and into the future, and then come back for probably additional funding for digitizing our historical records going back to the original foundation of the college, which are still paper. And then finally, we're doing some just regular good old maintenance on our Learning Resource Center, including paint, carpet, and furniture. And this, of course, requesting this fund balance request is in lieu of asking the counties for support of that maintenance effort. So with that, that's our request, and I am open to any questions or comments you might have for me. And also I could call upon Karen if she can help us with anything in detail that I am not able to answer.
Okay. Council?
Okay.
So with the question I have is, always, we want to increase salaries and all of that and reward our employees. And when you get my question is this a one-time bounce from the state through the BRFA? And if you don't get it next year, what do you do to pay for the salaries aside from coming to the counties to ask to make up that funding?
Well, this particular funding is ongoing, so that's
Okay.
a permanent addition to the budget, and that's the only reason why we could entertain a request or a proposal to increase our salaries. That would require ongoing funding, to which this is permanent ongoing.
Very good. That's exactly the right answer to my question.
I have no questions.
I don't either, so, okay, is there a motion and seconded to approve the college request as submitted?
I so move.
I'll second that.
Okay, Madam Secretary, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Lusher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Pack?
Aye.
Mr. President, thank you very much. As
you
always,
for
we
coming.
appreciate the support of our county
Yep.
and the resources that we're given to do what we do, and we are very grateful for your support.
Well, we're here to help you guys and to support you, as you know, and anytime you need anything, you come to us, because we're a team and we're there for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Have a great
Thank
evening.
you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, next thing on the agenda is introduction of legislation. So at this time, I would ask Madam Secretary to read in the bill into the record, please.
A bill to establish the annual salary of the sheriff for Talbot County to become effective for terms beginning in and after 2022.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Okay, can I please raise your hand if you would like to introduce the legislation?
Any discussion on it, or just gonna?
We'll have time. Next meeting, if that's okay? Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Madam Secretary, could you please announce the bill number and the public hearing date and time, please?
Yes, this will be known as Bill Number 1492, and the public hearing is scheduled for this room on Tuesday, August 24th at 6:30 PM.
Sounds great. Okay. Up next, we have an update for economic development tourism. Our own Cassandra Vanhooser, the director, and her team.
And her team.
And her team.
That's right. Well, Mr. President, thank you so much for having us. Council members, always great to see you. It's always good to be here to give an update on economic development and tourism. Now, this is not my first appearance before you today, so I'll try to be brief and get us all home in time to see the softball game tonight for the Olympics. But I do have a few things that I think are important that I want to share with you. And of course, we have already spent that time together today talking about the Eastern Shore Recovery Project. I would encourage you to go into those tools and examine them and give feedback, as we discussed earlier. And I would invite the public to do that as well. We have, this is our halftime report, and we have a whole lot more work to do on that project, but as I said earlier, I'm very, very excited. This will help us and you understand the business community better and position us to better respond to crisis situations that occur in the future. And we hope and pray that business disruptions are minimal here on the Eastern Shore, but when they do happen, we want to be ready. And the Eastern Shore Recovery Project is an exciting step, and I will say a giant leap forward for us in Talbot County. And I will give that website. It's recovery.delmarvaindex.org. And we will post our press release on the website, the county website, and on the tourism or on the economic development site, so that anyone who is interested can go and examine those tools. Now, the economic recovery is on in many business sectors, and we continue to meet with businesses that are expanding and prospering here in Talbot County. And we have businesses growing literally in every corner of the county. When I give these reports, I'm very careful not to reveal confidential information, but some of the notable successes include the expansion of Whitman Wharf Seafood to the former Phillips Wharf property in Tillman, the reopening of the Tillman Island Inn, the development of the Ferry Cove Oyster Hatchery in Sherwood, the purchase of the Market House in Easton, and the development of that $1 million kitchen that's coming up by Spurry, Curran and Associates, the transition to new owners of the Oxford Inn, and the expansion of Composite Yachts and Trap. So as you can see, there's some really exciting projects going on all around the county. And I really look forward to the day that we can get you out and show you some of these projects, because I know that you'll be impressed with what's going on. Now, while business is booming for many in Talbot County, the effects of the pandemic are lingering for some business sectors. And the ones that, and Corey, you had asked this earlier, but the ones that we're hearing the most from are personal services like hairstylists and massage therapists, because some people just haven't come back into that space yet. And those people, of course, are experiencing the same workforce problems that others have experienced. So we're keeping a close eye on those where we're hearing that people are having difficulty. And I know you probably never want to hear the word grants again, but I wanted to share that my team has successfully completed all the state grants from the Maryland Department of Commerce and from the Maryland Department of Health and Community Development. I will just share, I've got all kinds of numbers, but I just want to give you this number. We've given out 112 new grants, and this is since I was here before and reported on all of our grants, and that's for a total of $545,350.89. Now, that brings us up to, since June of last year, my small department, my team, has given out $3.158 million in grants, and we have reinvested that money into the business community. That is significant. And those have all been in small increments, none of them over $10,000, but we have been able to help restaurants and hotels and motels and nonprofits. We just finished with the help, and all of that was with the help of the finance office. I must say that we've been working with them one-on-one, and Joy has had to come in and help us finish that project up. But we've been able to help some of the nonprofits with this new grant, and so we have successfully done all of those. And so I asked my staff, I populated the room so I'd have an audience, of course, but I asked my staff to join me here tonight because I want you to meet the people behind the scenes so that they can get credit for the vital service that they've given during this pandemic. And I have a new employee that I want you to meet. So I'll start with Krista Boothby. Krista comes to us from, Krista, you want to say hello? Krista comes to us from Lynchburg, Virginia. And our most asked question that we get in the visitor center is, what's the best place to eat? And the short answer is so many restaurants, so little time. But in a few short weeks, Krista has developed a restaurant guide for Talbot County that's about to go to print. And this will be a companion piece to the brand-new destination guide that we produced this year with our partners, Chesapeake Bay Magazine. And it has no listings, it's aspirational content, so that restaurant guide is going to be key to serving our visitors and getting them to the restaurants. And if you haven't seen a copy of our guide, you need to get a copy of that. It's I think our best yet. We were able to successfully produce that while we were doing all the other things in the first part of this year. Pam Keaton is the department's content creator. Pam's on the back row. During the pandemic and even now, she spends part of every day making sure that our resources are both relevant and up to date. She also worked with our web developer to create online submission forms for all of our grants. Only those applicants who had computer issues were unable to apply online, and that is significant for a small team to be able to pull off an online application. And we have maintained that constant flow of information to the public about Talbot County businesses with monthly newsletters, blog posts, and social media posts. Candace Harris is my right hand, and she anchors our visitor center and oversees the day-to-day operations of the department. But she, too, has gone above and beyond the call of duty to help people with their grant applications. And often I'll come out and see somebody sitting there with her helping them fill out their final reports. And as we were taking applications, helped people fill out their applications. And she is the very definition of an unsung hero. And Mary Lou Russ, of course, only works part-time with us, unfortunately, even though I've offered her a full-time job multiple times. But she, too, has been a champion with the grants. And all of our grant recipients have received an electronic grant agreement from us via DocuSign. And interestingly, no one had any problem signing the grant agreement because you can't get your money until you sign it. But we have a signed agreement from every one of those, thanks to Mary Lou, and we did it all electronically. She also does the lion's share of the work on the tourtalbot.org website and make sure that the events are current and new businesses have a spot online. So, again, I just wanted for them to know you and you to know them, because indeed, it's, they say it takes a village. Together, we five are the Talbot County Department of Economic Development and Tourism, and we're dedicated to the health and prosperity of the business community. And one last thing, I will note that your walls are looking a little bare, and I'm sorry that I had to take your artwork away, but that's okay, because that project has come to completion. The plein air ag collection is now hanging at the Academy Art Museum. It's the featured exhibit for the month of July. We had a wonderful reception last week, and then the week before that, during plein air, we hosted a dinner for about 200 people, connecting the farm community and the artists, and we had Maryland Public Television here doing a story for Maryland Farm and Harvest. We also added 5 new paintings, so they don't fit in here anymore anyway. So, and they will not be returning, because that collection was designed to travel, and so we are making plans for it to appear at other places so that we can share the news of agriculture on the Eastern Shore, the significance, the importance, and help people learn about what the story that those paintings tell. So we're very proud of that collection, and we're sorry we robbed you of it. But the good news is I'm working with a local framer here and we're going to pull some images from our collection of, more than 8,000 images. And so we'll be bringing back the beauty of Talbot County to your walls here. So with that, I am going to stop and entertain any questions you have, or defer to my chairman, Mr. Jafari, and see if he has anything he'd like to add.
Just a very quick point. You have seen Cassandra Vanhooser as the Director of Economic Development and Tourism coming before you, Mr. President, and members of the council to report. She's a very modest person. Everything that she's doing in other counties and other communities that I'm familiar with is being done normally by 3 to 4 times number of staff that is being done. One thing that was very noticeable, at least from where I sit, and that is the communication with the business community. Throughout the entire COVID period, the monthly meetings of the Economic Development Commission was held through Zoom. So we continued our work and continued our communication, continued our cooperation and collaboration between members of the economic development. Of course, some of you, Mr. Snapley, you participated, Mr. President, you participated yourself. That you noticed again, the communication has been an ongoing, and that has been very, very beneficial and very fruitful and appreciated by the entire business community. That's what I wanted to add, and thank Cassandra and the team for the great work they've done.
Thank you. Questions?
Council?
Well, just add,
Yeah, fair.
I was going to say, add to that, we had, a couple of months ago, we had the first Zoom meeting of the Economic Development and the Tourism Board together, which was very beneficial, and I hope that we do that, a couple of times a year to see how the left hand is feeding the right hand and vice versa. And I would echo your comments as far as Cassandra being very, very humble, and how appreciative, of course, we are of her. And next year, please don't plan the plein air good dinner farm thing for the same night as a council meeting, because we were all very sorry.
It was a glitch.
I know.
Happens once in every 7 years.
I know, it's supposed to be in Halloween, but that's a great event. And obviously, we were here, sitting here, not eating the good food. And your pies, how many did you make this year?
180 small individual pies, individually packaged to be COVID friendly.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you for everything you do.
Well,
Thank you, Reza.
I will say just one thing, Mr. Callahan, that, and I hope people here and also at home took notice of that number. $3.2 million of grants came through this small office with these wonderful ladies back here during the COVID crisis that we were in last year, that we're still in right now. And now we got more money coming our way with the ARRA money coming in. I'm sure we're going to probably be looking towards you ladies again to help out with that. So thank you very much for all that you did with that money. And again, that went right into local businesses to keep them afloat during a lot of the mandated shutdowns imposed by the state. So thank you very much for that and handling that. And again, I hope the citizens and the business owners realize that This was the team that handled all those funds. That was it.
By the way, the meetings of the Economic Development Commission will start as a hybrid from the library on August 5th, and it will continue. So that's another kind of feather on Cassandra's head and the rest of the team, because again, now they're coming through the COVID period, we're going to be starting the process of offering these meetings and the communication through a hybrid format starting August 5th.
August 5th.
So we gave a grant to the library to get some OWL technology, which is the 360 camera. So they will have the technology at the library meeting room to have hybrid meetings.
I just want to congratulate you on your foresight in the happy marriage that you achieved of that important tourism event in Talbot County that we call and love as the Plein Air Festival with the agricultural community, which of course is absolutely foundational in the sense of going back to the founding of Talbot County to our economy. So that was visionary, and I look forward to the impact that can have as it travels. So thank you for your good work.
Thank you.
And I'm going to echo it, and that you guys, all of you guys, you know, you've made a difference in the last couple of years to a lot of people's lives and businesses. So you should be proud of that. That's for sure, because you've touched a lot on us. So you've done a great job, and it's a pleasure in the meetings with you. Your guys are so professional, and you know, your time and your effort to do all that shows. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. County Manager, you're up.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Council President, members of the council. Under County Manager Report tonight, we have boards and committee appointments. The first item is requesting your approval of, to the Economic Development Commission, requesting the appointment of Ken Kozel to fill the at-large seat.
So moved.
Second?
Madam Secretary, call the roll.
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Pack?
All right.
On the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, we're requesting the town of Oxford appointing Kim Kearns.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary, could you call the roll?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Pack?
All right.
So for the Tourism Board, the town of Easton is requesting the reappointment of Ron Engel.
So moved.
Second?
Madam Secretary, could you call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Pack?
All right.
The next item I have, I'll call the Acting Director of Emergency Services forward, please. I have two items for council's consideration this evening. The first is a request from the Department of Emergency Services to apply for and accept grant funding from the Maryland 911 Board to transition the county's 911 service from legacy telephone service to next generation IP service. As you read in your agenda packet, DES is requesting council approval to apply for and accept the grant from the Maryland 911 Board, formerly known as the Numbers Board, in the sum of $669,166.25 to transition the county's 911 service from a legacy telephone service to next generation IP from AT&T. No county funding is required. Procurement is made by way of competitive bid with 9 counties on the Eastern Shore through an RFP process. We have both the Acting Emergency Services Director, Brian Lecates, with us, as well as Tommy Hadaway, who leads our technology services. They can add any additional information or answer any questions.
Good evening, guys. Welcome.
Good evening.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you for having us here.
Yeah.
So this is a request that this would be in addition to, or a carryover from a request that came through in 2019 that actually Mr. Stamp presented to you, where all 9 counties of the Eastern Shore had banded together and hired an outside consultant that had expertise in the field of next generation 911 and the technology that goes along with it. And we've since made that collaboration with all the counties. Queen Anne's County was our fiduciary county that went to the numbers board, state numbers board, requesting funding for the for the consultant, and they have written an RFP. They've assisted counties in the scoring of the RFP. All 9 counties are in agreement to award that to AT&T, that they did the best job with the RFP, and they would be a great next generation 911 supplier for our future. So that's what we're here for this evening, is really requesting permission to go to the numbers board and request the amount of $669,166.25 of all state money to move forward with this project. The breakdown of that is about $155,000 is in construction. So we're going to be bringing additional fiber lines into our 911 center, and then $102,000 annually times 5 years for the service.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Okay. Madam Secretary, could you call the roll?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Peck?
All right.
The only other thing I'll add, thank you, council, for that, and just want to recognize Tommy Hadaway for his leadership, not only with Talbot County, but helping with the other counties to do this project. It was very unique because, as you know, the Delmarva Peninsula can be somewhat isolated because of the Chesapeake Bay, and so it was really imperative that we collectively got together to address the ability to have redundant feeds so that we don't have a loss of 911 services. And Tommy was acutely aware of that and really went above and beyond. So just want to recognize him for that. So thank you, Tommy.
Thank you.
The next item I have is a request from the Department of Emergency Services to apply for and accept grant funding from the Maryland 911 Board for cybersecurity monitoring for the Emergency Services Next Generation 911 Network. As you read in your packet, DES is requesting council to apply for and accept a grant in the amount of $327,000 for cybersecurity monitoring. And again, this is an extension of an existing contract that was originally piggybacked on the St. Mary's County contract, and we're asking council approval to extend the contract with this company. And again, I'll hand it over to Brian or Tommy to answer any questions you might have.
So this is, again, just an extension. It is over 5 years and no county funding. Just want to emphasize that. It's just allowing us to go to the numbers board and request the funding
We
for it.
always like it when they say no county funding. We like that. So with that, I'll make
It's
a
the
motion.
most important sentence that was actually in here.
It
So.
is. So I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
Motion second. Secretary, could you call the roll?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Peck?
All right.
My sense is that regardless of whether county funding was required, this is important and we should fund it anyway.
It's absolutely important, yes. Just look at the news one day and you'll know why it's so important to us, so. Thank you all.
And then finally, as they get ready to retire, I'm looking forward to the next council meeting to introduce the next emergency services director, who will begin on August 2nd. So the new director will be in. We're excited about that. Brian and Tommy are also excited, and we'll introduce them to council next meeting.
Excellent.
And I want to piggyback on that, and you guys and Brian, I really appreciate the last year or so that you know, I know things, you've run the ship here a couple times, and you've done a phenomenal job.
Thank you, sir.
And you know,
It's been my pleasure.
you know, I can't thank you
been fun.
enough. I can't thank you enough for doing that, because that's a big job, especially through the pandemic and all that kind of stuff. So you've done an excellent job for the county, and it's a pleasure to have a good, if this other gentleman comes in here, and you're going to be a phenomenal second guy, and can help him through some of the things he's going to be, you know, accustomed to here, and you'll be able to help him through that, and I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to having him on board, so.
Yep.
Think you. And so this completes the county manager report for the evening.
Thanks,
Thank
Brian.
you all
Thanks,
very
Tony.
much.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Tommy, what's going on with this?
Recovering.
Okay, all right.
Okay, while Mrs. Morris goes gets the sheet, we've got public comment coming up here, so we'll get the sheet, and that way you guys can come on up here and talk to us.
me to start with the usual announcement?
Yes, would you please?
Public comment is an opportunity for members of the public in attendance to address the council regarding any county matter. Any member of the public desiring to be heard by the council shall raise their hand and wait to be recognized by the council president. Once recognized, that the person shall state their name and address and then direct their comments to the council as a body, not to individual council members or to other members of the public. Each speaker shall be permitted to speak no more than 3 minutes. Those speaking on behalf of an organization shall be given up to 5 minutes unless otherwise authorized by the council president. Speakers are expected to be courteous and respectful. Personal, impertinent, or slanderous comments shall not be tolerated. And we have a sign-up sheet, and we've got a couple of names here, and it appears the first one is Mark Ebersberger of Easton.
Good evening.
Good evening.
If you could say your name and where you're from, sir. I appreciate
Okay.
it.
My name is Mark Ebersberger. I live at 8243 Easton Village Drive in Easton Village in Easton. And my comments concern the Talbot Boys Monument. I will be brief. I want to share with you a few quotes that I think concern the basis for the Talbot Boys Confederate Monument. I will warn you that one quote will contain a word that should grate on your conscience and your soul, but I say it just for that purpose. The first is a quote by 11-year-old Rebecca, and it is, "Move the monument because you shouldn't be proud of slavery." Quite profound for an 11-year-old, but shouldn't be for a thinking adult. The second quote was uttered to Charles Dickens when he visited the United States during the lifetime of the Talbot Boys. It was from a Southern gentleman. This Southerner said to Mr. Dickens, and I quote, "By God, sir, the niggers must be kept down, and the whites have put down the colored people wherever they have found them." I think that it was the reliance on this belief that motivated the Talbot Boys to willingly put their lives in harm's way to join the Confederate Army. I also think it was the adherence to this belief that motivated the erection of the Talbot Boys Monument. An 11-year-old can clearly see the fallacy in such a belief. Now the remaining question is, what do you believe? If you are religious, I have one last quote, "And a child shall lead them." Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next signer is Keith Watts.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Before I begin, let me thank you all for your service. There's really two things I want to discuss.
Watts, if you could tell who you are, where you're from.
Yes, my name is, thank you,
Yep.
Mr. President.
Yep.
Keith Watts, 5800 Tillman Beach Drive, Tillman Island, a small island off the coast of the Chesapeake Bay, Maryland. There's really two things I want to touch on. One is public transparency. I think that you've all done an extraordinary job through the pandemic of allowing public participation. But now, we're back to only those people who can come here physically. Now, we just heard Cassandra talk about, we just had Zoom meetings, different committees getting together. People were able to call in and participate in something that they felt was very, very important to them. Now, we might not always want to hear what they have to say. I understand that. We all have differences of opinion, and we're very passionate about things. But for the council to seemingly, and maybe this is just an oversight, sort of backtrack and not allow call-ins and only allow in-person participation is worrisome. And I say this because the CDC is about to issue guidelines that require masking again indoors, which is the reason I'm wearing this mask. Otherwise, you'd see my sunny countenance. So I think it's something that I would ask, with all due respect, that the council think about reinstituting the ability for the people of Talbot County to participate. And that way you can hear from them and they can hear from you, because they won't get this until tomorrow. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is, of course, the first speaker's favorite topic there was the Talbot boys. As you know, there was a decision that came down in Roanoke, Virginia, our sister state. And the judge, I'm going to read a couple of excerpts from his letter because I think they're incredibly powerful. Approximately 2 weeks ago, I looked out my window in the courthouse and saw a young woman who appeared to be African American walk by the statue of the Confederate on Main Street. She turned right onto College Avenue and, without breaking her stride, looked up at that statue, then looked down immediately and began shaking her head. While I could not accurately describe her reaction as anger, disgust, bewilderment, confusion, or any other emotion, given the brief nature of the observation, almost any emotion encompassed within her reaction had to be a response to the simple question, why? The same question of why is one that I have had put frequently to me by the public, lawyers, and members of other constituencies working within the county courthouse. A decent respect for you and the Board of Supervisors requires an explanation of my conclusion that the continued presence of this monument in its present location interferes with the administration of justice in the county.
Mr. Watts, could you wrap it up for us? I appreciate it.
Certainly. Symbols convey the power of meaning. No one would suggest a Confederate flag or a monument has any place in a courtroom or in this room. The meaning conveyed by this statue to its proximity to this courthouse and being on the county property is completely unethical to the proper administration of justice. And so I ask you all respectfully, why is it still here? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Watts.
Mr. President, those are all who have signed up in advance for public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. So, yes, sir.
I apologize for not signing up. I arrived a little bit late, and I'm going to see if I'm capable of talking and holding up a sign at the same time.
Yes, sir. If you could just state
Thank
who
you.
you are, when you
Yes.
come, I'd appreciate it.
I'm David Montgomery. I live in Cooks Hope in Easton. What I wanted to present you today is the results of a poll which came out about 2 weeks ago. It was done by two independent news organizations, Morning Comment and Politico. It's a nationwide poll, about 2,000 respondents, plus or minus 2% errors on the numbers that they produce. What it shows is that less than 1/3 of Americans want to see statues of Confederate leaders removed. About 51%, a slim but clear majority, said that they want those statues to remain. Interestingly, it shows that, looking at a little more detail, that among independents, there has been a substantial increase in the number who support keeping the Confederate statues in place. And it's almost all come from those who have made up their minds and moved from the undecided category to favoring category. I think there's a reason for that. I think that the center is becoming increasingly tired of the cancel culture, of the efforts to deny us the opportunity to see the monuments and memorials of American history, are getting tired of efforts to substitute the 1619 Project with its false narratives about the founding of the country for the accurate history of how this great nation came to be. Looking at these numbers, that a majority nationwide does not want to see Confederate statues removed, and reflecting that I can see several reasons why these numbers would underestimate the support for keeping the Talbot boys. I wonder why it is that all I hear from the supporters, from those who move the monument, those who want the statue to be removed, is that those who support it are racists, are white supremacists. I was even accused of wanting to support the Ku Klux Klan, which is kind of ironic because the Klan actually was targeting Catholics during the period, which I am, during this period when the Talbot boys were erected. But my point is that that the argument for taking down the Talbot boys statue does not address the admittedly controversial, but certainly a history that has two sides about why it was erected, about why those boys went to fight, and I'm not going to make you sit here listening to that argument once again. But I am still shocked that so many of those who want to move the monument seem to think that their neighbors who want to keep it are evil, and they're implying that probably there's a 50-50 chance the person standing beside them in Acme is one of those evil people. I won't go into the reasons why I think that, just one reason why I think these numbers probably underestimate the actual support for something like the Talbot boys. The statue is not of a leader. It's not a monumental equestrian statue dominating the landscape. It's a young rebel carrying his colors. They're furled in, the memorial is about local men with family ties that still exist. It's certainly not there to honor the much maligned Confederate flag. You can barely see it in its furled position of surrender. And, well, I guess on top of that, just one other observation that polling traditionally,
Could you get ready to wrap it up? I'd appreciate it.
one more sentence, polling traditionally underestimates the number of conservatives and their opinions. Traditional reason is that conservatives don't like to answer polls, but in this case, we know that there's a strong fear of expressing support for the Talbot boys because of the worries about social ostracism and reaction of neighbors. So I think we have a majority in support of keeping the Talbot boys. I challenge those who move the monument not to try to force a decision to yield to a small minority or to the few that are perpetually offended. I challenge them to let's just wait and put it to a referendum. I'm confident there's a majority, but I'm willing to wait and see what the voters say. Thank you for your indulgence.
Thank you, Mr. Montgomery. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Come on up.
I apologize, I walked in and forgot to sign up.
It's all right. We'll let you go this time.
Thank you. My name is Kathy Liebel. I live at 402 Goldsboro Street in Easton. I was here probably about a month ago. I was also here at your last meeting and chose not to speak, so I decided I would take the opportunity this time to address some issues. Before I start the few words that I wrote down, I find that the Move the Monument representatives are frequently misquoted. And so I would just like you to keep in mind that many things that are said are coming out of our mouths that are not coming out of our mouths. And so I would appreciate just having a filter when you're listening. For me, it's important that you know moving the monument won't erase history. It is recognizing it is no longer appropriate for this statue to be in a place of honor in front of our courthouse. Those who still feel it's appropriate to honor those who fought against our nation can do so elsewhere. Moving the monument also lets all the citizens of Talbot County and elsewhere on the Eastern Shore know that this council recognizes the need to represent all of the council's citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Anybody else would like to come up and say anything? Okay, so we'll move on. Thanks a lot for coming tonight and speaking in front of us. Really appreciate it. So next is council comments. Mr. Pat?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Callahan. I'll be brief. Received an email the other day and just wanted to recognize Senator Cardin, Van Hollen, and Congressman Steny Hoyer for their support of $1 million of funding to local fire departments around the state here in Maryland. Got a printout here of dollars that are going to Trapp, Tillman, St. Michael's, Easton, and Oxford. In total, Talbot County will receive some $120,000. This is through the American Rescue Plan, and just want to thank those elected officials, federal elected officials, for supporting that. We know that our local firemen have been hit tough when it comes to fundraising through the pandemic, so I'm sure that money will come in handy for them, and that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pack. Ms. Price?
I'm good this evening, nothing further. Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Vice President?
Just one brief question. Should issues of justice be decided by the will of the majority? Or should matters of justice be decided on the basis of constitutionally guaranteed freedoms? That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I'm going to wrap it up by saying tonight, it was a privilege to have two gentlemen here tonight that saved a life. And that's what we all strive for. Instantly, they responded to a plane crash and made a difference in a family's life and a person. And that's what we're all here for. So I want to commend them guys, and I want that to be a lesson to everybody to get involved, to help people. That's what we're all here for to do. And not to sit back, not to watch, but when something happens, get involved, you know, help somebody, make a difference in somebody's life. And with that, thanks a lot, everybody, and I'm going to let the Vice President wrap everything up tonight with closing the session.
The County Council's next meeting will be held on Tuesday, August 10th, beginning at 6:00 p.m. The Council will be convening an open session at 4:30 p.m. and immediately adjourning into closed session to discuss real estate, legal, and personnel matters as listed on the statement for closing that meeting. On Tuesday, August 3rd at 4:00 p.m., the Council will be meeting with Maryland Association of Counties President Wilbur Levengood and MECO Executive Director Michael Sanderson here in the Bradley Meeting Room to discuss the upcoming state legislative session. Therefore, is there a motion and second to adjourn tonight's meeting and reconvene as noted?
So moved.
Second. You got a motion and second, Madam Secretary, could you call the roll?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Pack?
Okay, that's it. Thanks a lot for coming out tonight. Appreciate it.